guys, Josh from CaliforniaThroughMyLens.com. Today we're taking a day trip to Anacapa Channel Islands National Park. In order to get to Channel Islands National Park, you have to book a tour with Island Packers. You can take the boat from either Ventura or Oxnard, and I went out of Oxnard Harbor and got there about 30 minutes before it was time to go. Today we're in the Oxnard Harbor, we're all checked in, and we're heading out for a day trip to Anacapa Island, which leaves at 9:30 and it's supposed to get back here around 5. There's a good coffee shop right next to where the boat leaves called Honey Cup if you want a cup of coffee. Other than that, you just wait until the boat's ready to go. Heading down to get in line and board the boat. Unlike some of the bigger boats that go to the other islands, this boat is mainly outdoors, so make sure you bring your sunscreen as there's only very limited seating inside. They do have an interior area though where you can buy snacks and drinks. These are the main islands right there. I did a video on this one about 6 months ago, this one a couple years ago, and then this little teeny thing right here is where we're going today. After pushing off from the harbor, it's about an hour to get over to the island depending on what type of wildlife you see. There's usually a bunch of seals just sitting there right when you leave, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled. I opted just to stand in the back so I could walk around and take pictures, and within 10 minutes we were in the open water. Left the harbor and heading out to Anacapa. On my previous trips I've seen hundreds of dolphins and even a few whales, but on this trip we didn't see a ton of wildlife. A few dolphin did visit us as we got closer to the island, and they took us up close to one of the oil rigs, which is pretty cool because I'd never seen that before. After about an hour, we were nearing the island and could see the famous arch and the lighthouse out on the cliff. I'm always super impressed by how the boat docks here, as they have to turn around and back in basically in the small cove. We made it to Anacapa Channel Islands National Park. We're just waiting for the boat to dock and then we're gonna go explore. The boat unloading process takes a little while as they have to get everybody off as the boat is bobbing back and forth. So after ranger orientation, we are free to explore. It's like 150 feet to get up to the top, so a bunch of stairs, but it's gonna be an awesome day today. Right where the boat drops you off is the only place that has water access on the island. If you want to swim or snorkel or even put your kayak in, you have to do it right here. Look at that kelp forest down there. You can actually swim right off the dock here. I didn't bring any gear, unfortunately, but it looks like a pretty cool place to swim. Be sure to let me know if you've swam here before, as it looks like it would be a really cool experience. It's nesting season for gulls, so there's a lot of them here. You're gonna hear them in the video the whole time. It's kind of fun though. It reminds me of Finding Nemo, where it's like, mine, mine, mine. This is hilarious. Look at this greeting I'm getting to the island. Hello to you guys as well. I'm putting the chances at like 75% that I get pooped on today. There are birds everywhere. I did not expect this amount of birds, but it made for a fun experience while on Anacapa. You'll pretty quickly notice that this island is not very big. So this is the main area with the visitor center and stuff. There's a lighthouse over there, and then Inspiration Point is like a half mile over there, and that's the main thing that you'll see. 4 hours on this island is more than you need for sure. We have officially made it to Anacapa Island. Once you make it to the island, you're greeted by a big wooden sign, an American flag, and a few of the office buildings. There's signs that tell you about the different trails on the island, but it's pretty much impossible to get lost. I decided to head into the small visitor center first. This visitor center is tiny, but it does have the original lighthouse lens, which is pretty cool to see. This lens was constructed in the early 1900s and it was installed in 1932. It was used all the way until it was replaced in 1989. Seems like everybody's eating by the visitor center, but I'm going to try to head out to Inspiration Point, see if there's a bench there so I can sit and eat with that view. Most people opt to have lunch when they get off the boat, so I always go to one of the viewpoints just so I can sit and have it to myself for a little while. As I'm walking, they start getting louder. It's like, intruder alert, intruder alert. So the sign says that they have their babies in early June, and it's about the 1st of August right now, so I don't think we're gonna see any babies, but if you wanna see them, then I guess come in the early part of the summer. Do be warned though that I talked to one of the rangers and they said that when they have their babies, they can be pretty territorial and they're known to attack visitors if they get too close. This area right here is called Pinniped Point, I believe. There's a little bench and then there's good views of the island and also sea lions right down there. So this is a pretty amazing view. If it wasn't for Inspiration Point, this would probably be the best view on the island. I think I'm just gonna sit and eat my lunch here. Inspiration Point is probably gonna be pretty busy and it's a pretty nice view to have all to yourself. There are all the sea lions right there. If you want to see the sea lions, I definitely recommend bringing a zoom lens or binoculars. There's no food, water, anything like that on the island, so you gotta bring whatever you want. Those dudes right there are getting closer and closer. I think they're plotting a way to steal my food. The ranger's leading a guided hike, which you can see all those people behind me, so that was my cue to leave, go on to the next spot. I'm trying to see how many birds I can get in one shot. I think this is the best that I've got so far. 25 or something. As I watch this video back, there's a lot more than 25 birds in that shot. I'm guessing that's the mom and those 3 behind them are the babies. I did confirm with the ranger that this is true. The brown ones are the babies that are a few months old. Here we have the campground for the island. Unless you're doing water stuff though, I probably wouldn't camp here. There's not a lot to do. There's no water. But I mean, I guess you get some pretty good sunsets and sunrises. I've never camped on this island myself, so let me know if you have and if it's worth it in the comments. Also, if you want to learn more about the island, a ranger guided tour that they give right at the beginning is a good way to do it. There's so many birds that they installed these things that spin around to try to keep the birds off of the tables. We're a half mile from Inspiration Point. That way. By this point, I'd only been on the island for about 45 minutes and I had 4 hours or something to kill, so just so you know, there's not a lot to do here. There's people right there. That is Inspiration Point. You'll notice I didn't include a lot of audio in these clips. It was nothing but wind and bird sounds. From here, I turned on my DJI gimbal and just filmed all the way to Inspiration Point. Made it to Inspiration Point. Inspiration Point is easily the reason to come to Anacapa Island, and it's definitely the reason that I came back for a second trip. This viewpoint's incredible as it looks over the other 2 parts of Anacapa, Middle Anacapa and West Anacapa. There's no way down to those 2 islands, and I believe they're protected bird sanctuaries, and so this is the only part of Anacapa you get to visit. I spent about an hour here so far since we have so much time on the island. Not even complaining, I'll probably spend another 30-45 minutes before I head on. There's a nice bench here to sit and relax at, even though it was covered in bird poop. If you're anything like me, then this is probably where you're going to want to spend most of your time while you're on Anacapa. This is probably one of the benefits of camping here, as I'd love to be able to watch the sunset from this spot. I was hoping to shoot a time lapse, but there weren't any clouds, so it's pretty hard to see any movement. So I ended up just walking around and exploring all of the different angles on the different cliff edges. I have to say, this is easily one of the best views in California. The ranger told me that in the spring there's wildflowers out here, which would make the view that much more incredible. Alright guys, we're saying goodbye to Inspiration Point for this trip, finishing the hike and heading back towards the boat. Look at this, the ground is basically covered in poop. The hike back gives you some good views across the water towards the California coastline. From here, we're heading down to our last point of interest before the lighthouse, Cathedral Cove. Cathedral Cove also has a nice little bench that you can sit at, but it was crazy windy for me, so I didn't stay very long. Making our way back to the visitor center and the lighthouse. Once I made it back to the visitor center, I just grabbed some shade, relaxed, and watched all the birds fly around. Surprisingly, they had cell phone reception here as well. I've just been hanging out at the visitor center for about an hour, sitting in the shade and relaxing. I'm doing my last thing, which is the lighthouse, before the boat picks me up in about 45 minutes. The lighthouse is a short 5 to 7 minute walk from the visitor center. There's some birds that are mad dogging me, blocking the way. This is as close as you're able to get to the lighthouse because it says that the horn can damage your ears. I do wish the lighthouse was open, as it would be cool to go in and see it, but the horn that goes off when you're near is pretty loud, so I imagine it'd be loud if you got closer. I don't know if you can hear this because it's crazy windy, but finished the lighthouse, heading back down to the boat. By the time I finished the lighthouse, it was about 45 minutes before the boat picked us up. I just slowly made my way back to the boat, watched some of the people swimming in the cove, and just enjoyed the last few moments on the island. Just to reiterate, they give you way more time on this island than you need, so plan on spending a decent amount of time here and just relaxing, as you'll get through most of the things within the first couple of hours. Eventually the boat arrived and backed in, and it was time to take our trip back to the mainland. One of the best things about this trip is that if the water's calm, they'll take you around to see the arch, which is a famous landmark in this area. Here are some of the shots I got from the boat of the arch. After viewing the arch, they often even go around the backside of the island to let you see the sea lions a little bit more up close as well. After that, we said our final goodbye to the island and headed back. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.